I grew up in a broken home. My mom and dad got divorced when I was young. I lived with my mom and spent vacations with my dad. If my memory serves me right, I was in middle school at the time. Whenever I went to my mother's place, I spent a lot of time with my cousin. He was around my age, so we got along very well. We shared the same room and slept on the same bed. Everyone knew we were as thick as thieves. My mother's family was such that everyone was comfortable walking around unclothed in the presence of others. They saw each other as brothers and sisters, so the females could be completely unclothed in the presence of the males. It felt awkward to me because I was a very shy person. Sometimes when I come out of the bathroom, my cousin would follow me to our room and I'd tell him, "Get out so I can get dressed." He would laugh at me and say, "Even my big sister's body, Lena, I see it, how much more yours?" One night during my visit, he started touching me in a way siblings shouldn't touch each other. I felt uncomfortable, but I couldn't say anything. I just swatted his hands away like it was a fly and he stopped. The next morning, I was very traumatized by the whole experience, but I couldn't tell anyone. He was the golden boy, and everyone always pampered him. I feared they wouldn't believe me. My silence fueled him. He kept doing it until I got tired of defending myself against his advances. He would ask me to hold his joystick. While I'm doing it, he would also touch me down there. This continued until I went to high school. When I got to high school, I visited them less often, so our inappropriate acts stopped. I was in high school when I started visiting one of my aunties from my father's side. She used to own a restaurant, so I'd go there to help her out. During one of my visits, her son forced his way through me. It was a very hurtful experience, but I couldn't tell anyone about it. I didn't even know how to tell my dad and my stepmother about it. We weren't the kind of family that made room for open communication. Children were not supposed to be heard, so I kept quiet and endured the trauma all alone. My cousin took advantage of my silence and did it again. The third time it happened, I told him, "I trusted you as my family and my friend, but you hurt me. I will never speak to you again as long as I live. Mark this day somewhere." I made good on my promise, and I haven't spoken to him to this day. My extended family doesn't know what he did to me, and they don't understand why we don't talk to each other. I was still cool with my other cousin from my mother's side. We shared everything and talked about our experiences in secondary school. I visited the family from time to time, and by then I had gotten used to seeing him unclothed. Somehow the tables turned, and he became the shy one. Some days he would say, "Please excuse me. I need to get dressed." Unlike him, I respected his privacy, and I always excused him. As usual, we shared the same room and slept on the same bed. He was an adolescent male, big and muscled in all the right places. One night he made advances on me, and I didn't resist it. I felt it was a normal thing to do. It became a thing. We slept with each other whenever we felt like it. No one suspected a thing because of the nature of our relationship. At a point, I stopped going there altogether, and it stopped. After high school, life happened. I met guys. Some took advantage of me, and I allowed it because I thought that was how it was supposed to be. In the few relationships I've been in, intimacy was forced down my throat. I usually don't feel anything when I'm doing it. I have to play with myself before I can experience any form of ecstasy. To date, I've never had a happy ending through it, and the surprising thing is that I'm unable to say no to it. You want it, I give it to you, and off I go. I give in easily even though I don't feel anything. I ended up in an abusive relationship one time, and it was really bad. The man wanted to go through the back door, and I resisted. One day he succeeded, and from then he wanted it through the back door every day. I eventually mastered courage and walked out of the relationship, but it wasn't without a fight. All the while, no one knew about my struggles with men and self-pleasure. I kept things to myself because I was ashamed. I wanted to stop giving in easily. I tried to seek help from the church. Nothing worked. I am not a hypocrite. I am just a lost soul trying to find my way to the light. Sometimes I get close to change, but the darkness drags me back into its pit. I want to be good. I want to be a good Christian worthy of a good man, but I keep losing the fight to instant gratification. My body craves and I satisfy it. I then wallow in regret. At a point in time, I was friends with benefits with someone for close to 2 years. Around the same time, I told the guys I was dating, we will not be intimate until we marry. Meanwhile, just a little push would cause me to do it. Recently, I dated a guy I really liked. The connection between us was mutual. It was the first time in my life I ever felt such a connection with anyone. Our first intimate encounter was something I did willingly. I lied to him that I hardly do it and he believed me because of how tight I was down there. He was happy and took me as the Virgin Mary, green and largely untapped. I was in the office one day when he video called me. He started asking questions about my sex life. He asked, "So tell me, before we slept together, when was the last time you were with anyone?" I didn't want to tell him anything. He pushed for answers, and I got angry. I said a lot of hurtful words to him. My words got to him, so he said, "You know what? Let's break up." I liked him, so I apologized. He said, "No, I can't be with you. Your anger scares the hell out of me. You look very calm, but your anger is dangerous." I lost him. It was hard to get over him. It didn't help matters that I had to see him every day around my office. We worked in the same vicinity. In the process of healing, I met someone else. He has shown me so much love and he is very serious about me. He asked me to be his girlfriend and I accepted. I told him, please, no intimacy until we marry. He is very fine with it. He hasn't tried to pressure me or force me like the other men in my past. The voice in my head continues to tell me, this one is too good. You don't deserve him, but I'm the one he chose. For once in a long time, I was happy again. We were talking about moving in together. Few months into dating me, he was still patient with me. One day at work, I saw my ex and we strike up a conversation. He invited me to go to the mall with him and I went. That evening I took him home and we did it. I felt ashamed after it. I felt like I couldn't control myself. The worst part is that I have been dating the love of my life for 4 months now and I haven't been intimate with him. Not long after my boyfriend proposed to me. That was one of the happiest moments of my life. He took me to an expensive restaurant and popped the question. It was so romantic. When we got to his house that evening, he had rose petals everywhere like a red carpet, leading to bedroom. That was the sweetest thing anybody has done for me. That was the first time we slept on the same bed. We kissed and touched, but when he tried to go down there, I stopped him. I told him that I wasn't ready. I was afraid to give it up to him. I felt like if I give it up to him, he will treat me like the other guys. He responded that we have been waiting for months now. I wanted him so bad, but I was afraid he would leave if we do it. He said he would be patient. The worst part was that the following day I ended up on my ex-boyfriend's bed. I did it with him and it was one of the best I have ever had. I felt so guilty after the deed was done, so I went to my fiancé's house the following day and did it with him. He was very nice and gentle, and for once I felt like someone really cared. We were happy, and our relationship was going well. Except that I was still seeing my ex after work. Sometimes we would be doing it during our lunch break. He knows that I have a fiancé, but he didn't care. If anything, it intensifies the emotions. Unfortunately, everything came crashing down when my fiancé found the text conversation between me and my ex-boyfriend. He was devastated and I ended things with my ex-boyfriend and even quit the job. At first, I thought he forgave me, but he kept getting mad and would snap at me for no reason. Then one day he broke up the relationship. I'm the devil in my own life, I know. But I don't want to continue living like this. I am afraid I will never find love in my life. There should be a way the sinner turns to the light. How do I become a good person? I know my ex-fiancé doesn't deserve a cheating partner like me. He saw me as a demure and it still hurts me that I shattered that. He thought the best of me. Meanwhile, the text message he found proves that I was anything but that. I easily get angry. I get depressed. I cry most of the time. I get sad over little things. Sometimes too I am just numb to emotions.
It is very difficult for the original poster to bond with her fiancé because of her high body count. She has disassociated intimacy from love because right from when she was young, the people that were supposed to protect her and love her abused her. She has come to hate that part of her because of her childhood traumatic experience. In a strange way, she loves her fiancé, but yet denied him intimacy. Why carrying on an affair with an ex-boyfriend that rejected her, which shows that she's mentally damaged and relates better with people that rejected her because those people know her true nature, so she identifies with them better. Damaged women are not familiar with people doing nice things for them, which is also one of the reasons why she denied intimacy to her ex-fiancé. This is why a lot of women in bad relationships stay in that relationship due to trauma bonding. Naturally, men do not place the degree of importance to sex as women do, simply because women's biological nature is to invest emotionally with the guy she's having sex with on some emotional level. The original poster has conditioned herself to put her emotions on hold. Her brain has rewired to see sex as meaningless, which is why she doesn't get off on it, because she is still chasing that endorphins to diminish the pain from her childhood, which she's trying to run away from. Ultimately goes back to why she's refusing to associate that part of her or share that part of her with a man she allegedly loves. The reason why men should stay away from women with high body count is, number one, because of their inability to develop a healthy relationship, just like the original poster. And two, as a man, you want to be sure that you are not raising another man's offspring unintentionally. Only low-value men, or otherwise simps with fewer options, would go for women with high body count. The lower your body count as a woman, the more value you hold in the eyes of men, which is why men always value virgins. The higher your body count, the less value you hold in the eyes of men. Simple as that. But these days, finding a virgin is like finding a unicorn, so you just have to deal with the cards you're dealt with. The prescription for the original poster is that she needs some therapy. She needs some healing before she dives back into another relationship